Hey, this is Jake. I just wanted to show you what the different zoom or field recorders look like mounted on my Sony A7. So this is the Sony A7 with the Batis 85mm lens, which is, I'd say, middle of the pack in terms of size between a big zoom and a smaller 35 or something. So I just want to show you what these look like on there and give some first impressions. So this is the zoom H1 mounted on my A7, and looks pretty good on there. It doesn't really add anything to the weight or maneuverability of the camera. It's nice and light. I think it'll look extra good if I put a little wind guard on there. I don't have one right now. So that's the H1 up there. I'm actually recording the H1 if you're wondering why there's a cable. Now with the H2n, this is going to be a little different because it needs to be mounted upright, because the mic, the 1/4-inch jack is on the bottom of this device and the microphone is either in the front or the back. So here's what that looks like. Kind of cool. It's definitely looks like there's something big happening on top of the device, but looks okay. Looks okay. I mean, it definitely doesn't get in the way of anything going on with the camera, which is really nice too. And it makes the whole thing feel a little bit heavier, but it's right over the center of the way you would be using the camera, right over the sort of center of where the mass is. Okay, so that's the H2n. Now we move up to the H5. This is going to be quite a bit bigger on there. Give it a quick tightening. Looks pretty substantial and feels pretty substantial up there, in particular with the windshield on there. If we take the windshield off, still pretty big and bulky on there. I'm also a little nervous about if I do want to run XLR cables off the back, how that's going to block the articulating screen. That's not my favorite. I don't know if I'd really want to use it like this for long. Like, I don't think if I was having to hold it up, it starts to feel pretty heavy. Like if you got a big zoom lens and this on there, your whole kit is pretty darn heavy. But that's what it looks like mounted on the A7. And then finally, let's try out the H6. Kind of surprising. It actually weirdly looks a little more appropriate to my eye on the A7. One thing that's really cool here is that the cables aren't going to come out the back, so you can get a view where you're actually looking at both screens. Yeah, if you're shooting straight forward, you can actually see the screen on your zoom and the screen on your A7. It might block depending on where you're holding it, but even if you're holding it low, you can see the screen, and then the cables are going to come out of the sides, so that won't be an issue. So that's what the H6 looks like mounted on the A7. Now all these things are going to look a little different if you put the hood on. Just to give you an example, let's try the hood on with the H6, just to give you an example of what a larger lens might look like. This is going to look a little more balanced, so it doesn't look like a crazy large object on your camera. So with the H1, it makes the H1 look even more nimble. I really like how the H1 goes on the camera. I thought that might be the case, but seeing it in action, it's striking how incredibly light it is up there, and it looks not too much different than just putting a shotgun microphone into the hot shoe, but it's actually a dedicated separate field recorder, so you get that flexibility. So those are my quick thoughts and a quick demonstration of how these different field recorders look mounted onto the hot shoe of the A7. Please do follow the links at the bottom in the description of this video for more information. It'll help support this channel, so very much appreciated.